Zoomi, the boyhood of the Magi, Chapter 4, the ungrateful thief. Did you bake cookies today? I love oatmeal cookies. Yes, Zoomi, we all know you love your oatmeal cookies. They are hot, they are fresh. The dough of them rose ere the sun this fine morning. The village bake shop was the very favorite haunt of our favorite young Mern. He wished to have been born there. Imagine cookies every morning. Though of course he did have cookies every morning, for his home was but a very few steps from the bake shop, all dwellings in the village being clustered as closely as sheep in a pen. Shalil, the village of his ancestors, nestled at the confluence of two sparkling, sheeny streams. His V opened to a flowerous meadow, alive with the skippings and stirrings of field creatures. The grasses bent and rustled continuously, a minuet to the melodings of the intersecting streams. In places, outcroppings of granite marked the secret meeting places of the children. Red earth paths patterned the meadow, tracings of centuries of skipping Mern trollops, holding the memory of all who went before. Higher, the white Caucasus mountains carved a line across the sky, and the startling snow to blue azure demarcation blazed the edge to eternity. Massive, dominating, the mountains nevertheless hovered protectively above and around Shalil. Always the Merns felt the loving dominion of a providence, layering itself at every level of sight to remind them of its benevolence. The shimmering meadow, the gentle forest, the silver rivulets, the hills, the giant white apostles, these and other signs called out a raining mercy to the fresco of existence called Merns. Other common joinings there were to this gentle life. The bake shop, for instance. Somehow the baker's cottage was more cottagey. Its stones seemed carved by fairies. Its shingles snuggled the walls below. Its door the essence of invitation. From every seam streamed delicious nuances of savory bites. It rested in its innocence and nourishing presence. It beckoned. It didn't have to beckon Zoomi. He beat down the door. Not literally, though it is true his soul resided there at the baker's cottage. I must fill my pouch this morning, for I am going on a journey. A journey? A journey, said the baker. Yes, a journey. I'm going to visit Mers. Well, Zoomi, that's hardly a journey. It will take you but a piece of the morning. So you say, nevertheless, a journey. Requiring adequate provisions, no doubt. Well said, baker man. Adequate lots of cookies. You shall have them, dear friend. Place them right here in my pouch, said Zoomi. With this favorable transaction complete, Zoomi ambled onto the main thoroughfare, and spying an ox-drawn cart, he ventured to determine its destination. Mers, why, of course, we'll pass just by his hermitage, said the driver. Certainly you shall ride with us. Us? Who is this us? Grandfather Bashamath, said the cart driver. He's off for a visit today. But there is room, Zoomi. There is always room for you. I have provisions too. Yes, I can smell them. Quite an ample provision, I must say. Must you? I brought some to pay you. No need, Zoomi. No need to pay. I am going your way. Approaching the cart, Zoomi saw that Bashamath was already nestled into the straw, ready to embark. Good morrow, Zoomi. Good morrow, Your Excellency. For always were Merns courteous to their grandparents, an interconnectedness of families and generations which was lovely to see and to hear. Zoomi wrestled his charming round tush onto the oaken boards, placing his rucksack into the forward aspect of the cart. Exchanging pleasantries, the two riding companions were jostled down the road, adrift on the stream of nowhere going, nowhere needing. But soon Zoomi's fingers were tapping the oaken cart, tapping and inching ever so little toward the pouch of cookies resting between the travelers. Nonchalantly, Zoomi reached into the pouch and savored the first cookie of this traveling feast. He was somewhat surprised by what followed, for the hand of Bashamouth reached also into the pouch and drew out a cookie. Plenty for all, thought Zoomi, though he could have asked. A few moments passed. Zoomi's restless fingers again found the pouch and drew more treasure. To his surprise, again Grandfather helped himself to a cookie. Zoomi's next move was to remove 2 cookies from the pouch. Grandfather took 1. At least I'm getting my fair share, thought Zoomi. For a while he contained himself, watching to see what would happen. But soon his stomach growled happily at him, and he reached for another. A short time later, Bashamouth quietly slipped his hand into the pouch. Zoomi was beginning to, stew his cookies, and his nose was twitching, badly twitching. He put his hands to his face and fluttered his nose and lips. "Nervous about something, are you, young Zoomi?" said Bashamouth. No, not nervous, Grandfather," said Zoomi. They resumed their quiet bumping. Zoomi relaunched his 2-for-1 strategy of equality, nonetheless feeling put out and deliberately agitated. "If he takes 1 more of my cookies, I'll... But of course a Mern would nowise insult a grandfather. To think what Zoomi was thinking was outrageous enough. But his cookies, whatever was he going to do? Zoomi peered deep into the pouch. There was 1 cookie remaining, 1 solitary cookie. And while he was peering, a hand passed before him and into the pouch. Out came the last cookie. His eyeballs spinning, Zoomi began to sputter. His fury was making his eyeballs pink. Then Grandfather broke in 2 the cookie and offered half to Zoomi, who, while barely containing his distress, gulped it quickly to close his mouth to what he was about to say. Zoomi's lips were sealed, but there was steam coming out of his ears. The cookies had entirely disappeared. Abruptly, the cart stopped. They had arrived at the cottage of Murs. Mumbling his goodbyes, Zoomi snatched his rucksack and headed down the path. Something stopped him, something usually so wonderful that he couldn't believe he was smelling it. Looking down into his pack, lying quietly, lovingly sending its message, stared out his pouch of oatmeal cookies. Much later, having found the courage to tell all to Murs, though still shamefaced, Zoomi sat, cookie in hand, awaiting the response. Murs, as was his wont and gift, went straight to the heart of it. We are so occupied being ungrateful for the little we have, for the continuous chipping losses, that we completely miss the mountains of blessings being poured out on us in every moment. We are marvels of unthankfulness. Life is nothing but lessons, Tamirth. Yes, Zoomi, cookies and lessons. Mostly cookies, though.